minute, what happened?
Comment?
Tell us what happened? So that's what you're being accused of? You got anything to say?
Comment, sir? Did you do it?
Now's your chance to talk.
Officer Nick Solis, Nick-Soliz, Public Information Officer, San Antonio Police Department. Good to go? Okay, the suspect seen before you today was one William Richard Holliday. That's Holliday, Holliday, SID 509478, 54 years of age. He's being charged today for unauthorized use of a motor vehicle, so it's stolen vehicle, credit card abuse, elderly, and then 4 new warrants that he was just picked up on today. Fraudulent use of identifying information, which is basically identity theft. That's a 3rd-degree felony. False statement to obtain property, $30,000 to $150,000. That's a 3rd-degree felony as well. Tampering with the government record with intent to harm or defraud. That's a 2nd-degree felony. And exploitation of an elderly, which is also a 3rd-degree felony. So first off, I want to say that this case is it was solved by our detectives, and it's a great one because it just shows the hard work that our detectives do on a daily basis. So there's a short time frame here, but Guadalupe County had a victim who was notified by debt collectors that he owed an pending amount of debts. I don't know how much, but he had owed a pending amount of debts. Now, our victim's 65 years old. Through investigation, Guadalupe County was able to maybe get a suspect on these identifying theft cases. So they contacted our detectives in our financial crimes unit here at SAPD, who took the case. Our detectives contacted the victim and immediately started getting an investigation going, with the first step being the apartment complex that our suspect was living in. So our detectives go to an apartment complex here in San Antonio. They contact the apartment managers and they give them, hey, I'm here to see the suspect's name. I want to talk to him. Well, the apartment managers say, we don't have a suspect by that name here. We don't have anybody by that name here at this apartment complex. But in that apartment, we do have this person's name. It's the victim's name, okay? I can't say his identity, obviously, but it's his name. So now we have a suspect living rent-free in the name of a victim in his apartment, in an apartment complex. So that's our first charge there. Now our detectives keep digging and keep digging. Well, obviously that's not him. How did they pay for it? We don't know. So a little while later, our suspect is picked up on separate warrants on a traffic stop maybe a week ago on separate warrants. Our detectives get that body cam footage and they see that our suspect's driving a vehicle. It's a 2021 white Mercedes-Benz. Our suspects run that plate because it's a temp tag. That plate comes back in the victim's name, but it's being driven by the suspect. So now we have the suspect living in an apartment in the victim's name and driving a vehicle in the victim's name. So our detectives, through more investigation then now, go back to that dealership that vehicle was bought. And our detective is able to, he asked the dealership, how did he purchase this vehicle? This is not him. Well, they get the copies of the driver's license provided by the suspect. And on that driver's license is the suspect's picture with the victim's name. So it's a fictitious driver's license. So this is just, our suspect is basically living in the victim's name. So Currently, so that's what's going on there. So today we now have probable cause. What's happening? Our rapid response team, along with our detectives, they trail the suspect. They get an identifying location on our suspect. They follow him to various points of the city, in which at one point he stops at a local grocery store here in San Antonio. He buys groceries, leaves. We stop him, take him into custody on these warrants. On him, it was proven that he used a credit card in the victim's name. So in total, what detectives believe right now, they believe that our suspect has 66 fraudulent accounts tied to this one victim. It's obviously it's terrible, but it's also really good detective work that our detectives were able to backtrack through investigation and get this guy in custody. Detectives also wanted me to give a PSA on how not to become a victim of this. Now, in this case, we know how our victim became a victim of this identity theft. It was through his mail was somehow forwarded to this suspect's previous address. We don't know how, obviously, but it was. So just always make sure your mail is secure, never gets forwarded without your knowledge. Always carry your wallet, your phone. Don't leave it in a car or any facility. Anything with personal info, never throw away. Shred that, because this is exactly what happened in this case. But once again, big time kudos to our financial crimes detectives who really worked hard in bringing this victim justice and getting this suspect off the streets.
Nick, how old was the victim?
65 years old.
He used the victim's information to obtain a valid driver's license, or was it fake?
It's a fictitious driver's license, but the victim's name was on it, and it looked real enough to where he was able to purchase not a car, he was able to purchase, rent an apartment, he had his social security number, everything you could think of. So yeah, tied back to 66 fraudulent accounts.
Was the driver's license number fictitious, or that
It was the victim's driver's license number. He also had a Lone Star card in his name as well. So it's just the suspect was, this is just a bad thing, and that I don't know. Right now it's here, but I don't know at the time. It could, just depending on the mail. Yeah, I understand.
How many of these cases do you see?
Well, these are common. Obviously, it's unfortunate. They happen a lot, but when it coming around like this full circle, getting the guy in custody, I don't know if that's rare, because our detectives do a good job, but it definitely feels good to see one of these people, these suspects in custody for these kind of crimes, what we call white collar crimes.
Are there any signs or telltale signs that somebody might know that something's off from their accounts, or weird?
Well, in this case, the only reason the victim knew that this was happening is because the debt collectors were calling him night and day, say, hey, you're delinquent on this account, you're delinquent on this account, but he never had accounts, so that's the only way he was able to find out. And by that, he contacted the Guadalupe County sheriffs, who they did some investigations too, but they realized this suspect, a person of interest at that time, may have lived in San Antonio, and so they passed it down to our financial crimes unit. Yes, sir.
This was your financial crimes unit?
Financial crimes unit, yes, white collar. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you.